Yo, what's happening everybody, King GBL here and welcome back to a brand new Go Battle League video. Today I'm going to be showcasing one of my favourite Medicham Great League teams. You guys probably, if you've watched my videos, know that I just love Medicham. It is just it's a broken Pokemon. It's very fun to use in my opinion. I know it can be quite annoying for Steel users, but I personally do like it. And in the back we've got double coverage for flyers, which of course is Medicham's biggest weakness. Lanturn and Froslass are both weak to rock types, which Medicham covers. So this team covers each other's weaknesses perfectly. And Lanturn, like, it kind of is a sort of do-it-all type of Pokemon. It's a Swiss Army knife, if you will. You can get off surface against Stunfisks and Bastiodons, so it can actually handle the steel types and the flyers, which is why it's pretty broken, obviously. But anyway, guys, hope you're all having a fantastic day. Welcome on into the video. We're going to get into these battles, and to be honest with you, I had an absolutely terrible day in Go Battle League. In this set that you're watching, this is the last battle of the set. I was 1 for 4, 1 for 3. We brought in this team to rescue the set, and I ended up getting 2 and 5, and we play our final set of the day with this team, and it done very well for me. I was running all sorts of funny Pokemon today. I was running like a Sableye, a Abomasnow core, and Trevenant cores and all this sort of stuff. I was just getting hard countered like crazy by Noctowls. So if you're wondering why am I running 2 counters to Noctowl, that's basically why. I'm just tired of seeing them. Let's see if we find any Noctowls with this team. Ladies and gents, we're almost on 1k subs on this channel. It's only been 6 weeks. At this point, I can only say thank you very much to everybody who does that. And finally, we set up a Discord for the community if you're interested in getting to know everybody here, and if you want to do some battles together, or if you want to add some new friends. I'm also going to be doing some like battles and stuff in the future, like on stream. Once I get a new phone, I will be doing some streaming on here. And I do plan on doing like viewer tournaments and member tournaments and all this kind of fun stuff, so feel free to join the Discord. The link will be in the description down below. But now I'm finished, guys. I'm finished promoting myself. Thank you everybody once again. I'm finished promoting myself. What is actually going on with these battles here? That's the real question. We're throwing off the Psychic here on the Toxapex, which I actually quite like this play. Get off a lot of damage, and we actually go into our hard swap right here, which is not necessarily always the best play. The opponent comes in with Obstagoon, and this is kind of interesting. At least we've drawn it out, and we'll be able to counter it down. This thing goes crazy against Froslass, but I think in general, like a good sort of rule of thumb is not to go straight into your hard swap. You would of course want the Lanturn aligned on the Toxapex, so I shouldn't have maybe went in there, but I guess it kind of worked out. My thinking is I've got it very low, and at that point I'll be able to clean it up with any of the Pokemon in the back, so I thought Medicham and Froslass would be able to deal with that. And the opponent comes back in with Toxapex to throw the Sludge Wave. I decided to shield it there because I thought they might be weak in the back. It turns out it is actually a Sableye, so maybe I should not have shielded that. I really was expecting a Noctowl in the back, but of course it is Sableye. So this is looking very tough right here. The Sableye is basically going to farm down the Medi, and it's going to have a bunch of energy for the Froslass. So I cannot see a way that we can get back into this match, but we're going to come in and we're going to go for a Surf with Lanturn here anyway, because why not at this point? Maybe the opponent will let it go, who knows? No, of course they shielded, and they're going to get off a foul play right here. So it is Froslass against the world, ladies and gents. Can Froslass do it? The opponent's going to throw off a foul play right here, which is going to take us out almost, but it's a return, ladies and gents. It is a return, and they come in with Toxapex as well. The Toxapex has some energy left over. It farmed up an absolute ton. It gets off the brine, and we're going to go for the dirty overfarm here, leaving us one off another Avalanche. Ladies and gents, they misclicked, or they did not realize that it's a ghost type, and they threw the normal type move, which is absolutely hilarious, to be honest with you. So that really goes to show you I've made so many mistakes in this video, but even if you make mistakes, and if you're playing badly, and the matches are not going your way, don't rage and just stay in the match. You actually might be able to still win it through the error of the opponent. Next matchup right here, Whimsicott is an awkward one, sort of. Watching this back, I think I should have just swapped straight out. Of course, I don't want to swap into Lanturn. I feel like maybe swapping into Froslass here would have been better, because I do want to sort of... What you're thinking with this team is to keep the Medicham for any steel types in the back. So swapping in the Lanturn, or sorry, swapping in the Froslass and drawing out a steel type, or swapping in the Lanturn and drawing out a steel type is generally the strategy here, which is even a consideration to run Power Punch and Medicham. I'm shielding up these really low damage Mudge Bombs. I quickly looked this up on PvPoke while playing, and as it turns out, you win the 2-shield scenario with this, and sure enough, in comes the Galarian Stunfisk. I decided to throw the Psychic here, and this should have been my tell right here. This should have clicked in my mind. They're swapping in a Galarian Stunfisk. This Medicham is valuable in the back, but unfortunately, once again, I misplay, and I allow them to take us out, thinking that I can just take it out with a Surf here on the Lanturn, which, I mean, at the time I thought, okay, it looks like it's roughly in Surf range, but no, and we cannot farm this thing down with Thunder, or with Sparks. So this just turned into a complete mess, and the opponent is just absolutely destroyed us here. We finally come in with Froslass right here, and in comes Big Bastiodon, so Unfortunately, I don't think there is a way out of this, but it's just worth mentioning here. Look at the damage this Froslass can do. I'm really tilted at this point, and I'm just throwing Shadow Balls just as soon as I get them. I'm not throwing on timing or anything. I don't think it would have made a difference, but yeah, the Bastie's going to farm down, and they're going to have a Stone Edge loaded for the Lanturn. I thought I'd show that matchup to you guys because it is really embarrassing, because I feel like I just did not pick up on the very obvious reads right there. But it's just to show you that you can't just swap out of your Medicham and make sure that you're preserving it for any potential steel types in the back, because that can be a very big problem for this team. But again, like, that was kind of a tough one to deal with, and in general, the double steel teams are a little bit difficult if you don't get the proper alignment. So we're going to swap straight out here. We're safe swapping into Lanturn. Again, I was thinking, like, okay, I'm not going to make the same mistake again. I'm going to swap my Medi out if I don't win the lead, in order to save it for something in the back. The opponent farms up a ton of energy and brings in Reggie. Now, once again here, I'm making a mistake. Thunderbolt does more damage, more raw damage. So I would recommend doing that. I think it'll take about 3 Surfs to take out. The opponent goes for a Zap Cannon, so that's absolutely fine. 3 or 4 Surfs will take it out here. The opponent can not lock us down. We're getting to these moves so quickly, and you know, Reggie, it's doing 1 damage at a time here basically. Is the opponent going to throw? Are they going to go for the full farm down? Yeah, so we actually do get to another Surf. So I guess it kind of worked out fine in the end, but definitely the opponent could have removed there. We get farmed down by the Midi, and at this point we can come in with Froslass. All the shields are up. We can eat a Psychic here, but we decide not to, and it is an Ice Punch. So I'm thinking, okay, so the opponent's got Ice Punch, Psychic. I let the second one go. It's Dynamic Punch, which is an interesting one, so I'm feeling a lot more comfortable now. I don't have to shield anything else. It is just Dynamic Punch. It'll do a decent amount of damage, but in comes the Galarian Stunfisk. So I know I've got this match won. We catch the Rock Slide. Not even necessary at this point. And I think the opponent is probably going to top left here, yep. So it worked out pretty nicely for us that time. I think just getting the Medicham out of there and, you know, keeping it safe for something in the back is definitely the play. You could play at the mirror match, but I would prefer just to go into the Lanturn. Which, you know, it's not the most comfortable match in the world, but it's pretty neutral overall. But the opponent was running an interesting moveset. Ice Punch and Dynamic Punch, so that Lanturn match was not comfortable, but this is a very comfortable match, and in comes Venu. In comes Venu, you love to see it. So these Frenzy Plants or Sludge Bombs are just going to absolutely eat. Well, maybe not the Sludge Bomb, but the Frenzy Plants are going to eat. We're going to throw off before they get to another move. So let's see if they want to let it go. They decide to shield it, so I'm happy enough at that point. We'll shield up again, and if we commit shields, we'll just be able to get the farm down right here. Yeah. So we do farm it down. The opponent's got a shield advantage, but Froslass with a ton of energy is not what you want to see. They come back in with Reggie, and this Shadow Ball is going to do an absolute ton of damage if they let it through. Yeah, so it does a lot of damage. So I'm farming up. I realize I can get to the move before them. We're farming up like crazy, tempting them to use the last shield. And at this point, I'm happy to come in with Lanturn, and in comes Pidgeot. In comes Pidgeot, so GG's to the opponent right there. Lanturn, of course, is the, you know, the soft swap, but we do lure out the Pidgeot. The opponent just tapped on swap. They assumed it was the Medicham, so definitely a pretty decent play by me there, and either way it wasn't going to make much of a difference, to be fair. And we had a double counter for it. And right here we actually swap into the Froslass, because I think we get to the Shadow Balls just before it does here, which we do get it off. We'll fire off the Shadow Ball right here. And we've got the Squeaky Desk back today. The opponent catches, very nice. But we will be able to take them out with another Avalanche. So the opponent will have to shield the Stunfisk, and I can actually live a Rock Slide. Let's see, can I live it at this range? Maybe not. Well, we'll have to find out here. I might just about live it. Yeah, I just about live it. And the opponent does get the farm down. So at this point I'm happy, I've got the shield advantage. And even if I do have to eat an Earthquake on Medi, it wouldn't be the end of the world. But I decide, you know what, there's no point eating it. We'll just come out of here with a ton of health, ton of energy, even shields. And we actually swap in and catch, which is absolutely sensational. It's going to be a Surf right here. Oh, Shadow Ball. It's going to be a Shadow Ball right here. And in comes Whimsicott. This is a funny little pick right here. This is kind of tough. Like, Whimsicott kind of core breaks Medicham teams. Like, it is very good. And of course, it core breaks Lanturns as well. Like, this is a really good sort of core breaker. It's sort of given me an idea. Like, imagine having Whimsicott with Dedenne in the back. Both of them no play rough. You can take out Flyers and Medicham. That Moonblast done a ton of damage. I decided my only win condition at that point is to try and call a bait. The opponent just went straight for it, and they do get those Moonblasts extremely quickly. So I can only just say good games to the opponent there. They definitely played quite well. So we go 3-2 in the first full set, and some pretty questionable plays there, I'm sure you guys would agree. I think I could have definitely overcome at least one of those losses, but definitely like some good plays by the opponents. You have to give the opponents credit sometimes too, but I definitely realised from watching these that I could have done a little bit better. Now, interesting lead here. You can go for the Ice Punch, you can just go straight into Lanturn, it doesn't really matter too much here. The opponent's getting it off Dragon Claw, and the Shadow Dragonite just does a ton of damage, look at it. And in comes Venu, so I'm happy to draw this thing out, because I don't want it sort of going ham in the back. 2 Thunderbolts will take this thing out. I just throw on 6 because I realize the opponent's going to get the farm down right here, and we'll try to get a shield off the opponent. So the opponent slightly miscounted there, and they're just farming up for days here. I'm not willing to eat a Frenzy Plant here, so I'm happy to double shield and farm down. The opponent goes for a back-to-back Sludge Bomb, which I'm not too sure why they're doing that. You should just go straight Frenzy Plant here, but that's absolutely fine. I'll happily take the farm down. I don't think they would have got off another move anyway. And in comes a Typhlosion. You don't see this every single day. We're going to go for this Avalanche because it does a ton of damage anyway. Now the opponent actually comes in with Dragonite. This is perfect. We've got a couple of counters ahead, and this will just absolutely one-shot this thing. I'll put that dragon back in its den, and whatever this is gonna be a Blast Burn. It's going to absolutely just fry Medicham. These fire types are interesting. Look how much damage it's doing. It's doing a crazy amount of damage. But I knew that this thing is glassy, and we can't take it out with one shot of anything. Especially being the Shadow version of Typhlosion. But those things are scary, bro. Those like Shadow fire types are pretty scary for this team, or just for any team in general, to be honest. You don't really see a lot of fire types in the meta, and I feel like that's something they should consider buffing. We need some better fire types in the meta to kind of counteract some of the steel types. But in comes a Whimsicott lead. I feel like I actually might be able to win this because this Shadow, or sorry, not the Shadow, the Ice Punches are doing a ton of damage. And we're going to shield this up because the opponent let that first one through. And yeah, at this point I'm happy enough. They do go for the Grass Knot Bait, but we do reach this second Ice Punch, and we'll see what the opponent wants to do here. I decide to double shield it, and I actually might even be able to farm down here. Let's see if we can. Yeah, it's getting pretty close, so I decide to come in and go for an aggro farm down with Froslass. Feeling like, you know, this might be one of the harder answers to it. But in comes Swampert, and again, it's really nice we get ahead on energy. And at this point I realize, okay, they don't have like a steel type in the back. So this is quite interesting, and the opponent does just about get their move. So kind of happy here, we'll be able to just get a quick farm down. The opponent actually do have a steel type. So it's interesting that they swapped into that instead of Galarian Stunfisk, which would be doing a lot more damage. I guess they're thinking that, yeah, they really should have just went into Stunfisk because Medicham's obviously a good matchup for that. And Stunfisk is kind of dead weight in the back with Medicham, so I think the opponent should have swapped in Stunfisk. This is absolutely fine here, we've got a Lanturn. All we need to do is get up to 2 Surfs. Or is it fine, folks? It actually might not be fine. What am I saying here? What am I saying? This is not. This is far from fine. This should probably near enough one shot. Guys, can we get to the Surf before they farm down? No, they actually come in with the Swampert and guarantee that we get the Surf. I think we were only just one off, so I think we probably were getting that anyway. But I was so happy to see that. The opponent was going for the catch, and I was aware that that was in the back. I guess the opponent was miscounting energy again, and they thought we were at the Surf, and they got a little bit anxious at the end. Thankfully, we get the farm down. And yeah, we've got a Surf Edge right here, a very interesting pick. Now this thing hits like an absolute truck. You can see how much damage these counters are doing. The charge moves, they will equally destroy us. And I just don't want this thing to face my Lanturn in the back, or of course it's got Night Slash as well, so I don't want it on my Froslass. But I do come in with Froslass, and decide to shield up and go for the farm down. The opponent will probably try to get off, no, so they come straight in with Jellicent. The nice thing is we get a little bit ahead on energy, and as you've seen before, we can get to these Shadow Balls before them. So we're going to fire for this first one. The opponent does shield it, and this will do just an absolute ton of damage. Goodbye Froslass, but in comes Lanturn. We just hard swap straight into it. We don't even give the timer a chance to run down. And a Shadow Ball will do a lot. Jellicent is quite decent. It does get countered quite a lot in the meta, and we farm up to as much energy as possible here. Get off the Thunderbolt, which will one-shot it, and we just aggro swap back in here because we're not trying to get Leaf Bladed or anything. And in comes Jumpluff. This is another really fun pick. Double Ice Punch will take this out, and because we're ahead on energy, we'll get to 2 Ice Punches before they get to an Acrobatics. So unfortunate for Jumpluff. An opponent, it's a Pokemon, sorry, that I want to try, and of course we get that last counter on the Surf Edged. So we're having a very good set here so far. I think this video, if you can learn anything from it, is even if it seems hopeless, you should just try to win it anyway, because the opponents are prone to making mistakes at times, and you can win matches that you don't necessarily think you can. Now Medicham versus Medicham, the opponent swaps out to Sableye, and we'll swap into Lanturn right here. Of course Sableye would do just a ton of damage to my Froslass and Medicham, so I decided to come in here. The opponent goes straight for a return, which is an interesting play. I would have preferred the back-to-back fell plays if it was me on that side. We will get off another Surf. The opponent could have got two fell plays off there, so I don't think that was the correct play. We get a shield off the opponent, but they are able to go for the farm down almost. And I guess they panicked at the end. I was not going to be able to get that surf off. They panicked in for you. So again, you know, it just goes to show how much counting energy is important. I decided to shield up this foul play right here. And we'll go for the farm down here with Medicham. We leave the matchup with a Psychic, and it's looking pretty good here so far. And in comes Noctowl. So I'm thinking here, okay, let me just go for just an absolute ton of ice punches right here. We're going to put on just a ton of pressure on this thing. And just look at this, guys. Like, Medicham does surprisingly well against Noctowl if you've got loaded energy. And we're going to go for the bait here, of course. Let's see if the opponent calls it. Yeah, very nice call by the opponent. I seem to get that wrong every time. It's like whenever I throw a Shadow Ball to shield it, and whenever I throw an Avalanche, they don't shield it, so you just love to see that. They threw off a Psychic, so we're going to farm up just a little bit extra here, and go for another Avalanche. Give us a little bit of energy. But the Noctowl is already at a move, so we unfortunately won't be able to get that off. I think it would have took the Shadow Ball to take us out. And can we get this farm down right here? They literally just hit 6. They literally just hit 6 wing attacks right there, and that would have been the wing or the sky attack. So we done well to win that one in the end. Noctowl, like I said, it is just so broken. Like, even against a team like this, it is still putting in a ton of work. So GG's to the opponent right here. And this is a bit of an awkward lead. What I like to do against the Sumo is probably just go for a Psychic and maybe dip out into something. Maybe you probably should be dipping out into Froslass because, of course, Lanturn is the hard answer. So get off the Psychic and we catch what we hope is an Ice Beam bait right here. And it does turn out to be the Ice Beam, which is fantastic. We're going to farm up a little bit here, and yeah, the opponent actually does just get to the move before us. I'm going to respect it, and it is the Hydro Pump. The opponent was farming up for absolute days there, and now we can get a nice little overfarm. We could have overfarmed a little bit more because an Ice Beam wouldn't do too much damage, but the opponent's going to come in with their own Froslass right here. So this is where the extra energy would have been vital. We're going to go straight for the Shadow Ball, and the opponent shields it. Of course they shield it. You know, I think opponents are Psychic. I'm convinced. We're going to go for another one anyway, which will get the final shield off the opponent. And I'm happy enough for them to take us out at this point, sort of. I'm not like super happy. I try to catch an Avalanche, and the opponent comes in with a Medicham. So at this point, the Froslass has a ton of energy sitting in the back, and this is just looking really rough. The opponent here, they're going to throw off a move. Most likely the Psychic. But again, it's another Dynamic Punch. We're seeing a lot of Dynamic Punch Medichams, and we actually just go straight for this. Again, I could have farmed up a little bit extra, but I think I'd lost count. But actually, maybe it sort of worked out fine because we do get off the surf against this. And I think the opponent's trying to farm up to back-to-back moves or do it before the Thunderbolt. But yeah, this is tough, guys. They Shadow Ball the Medicham, and they actually just froze straight away. I wasn't expecting them to throw straight away. And it is an Avalanche, and of course we cannot get to the surf here. So a good place by the opponent, they called it. We end up going 4-1 in that set, and I really enjoyed this team, guys. It's, like I said, it's just sort of go-to team where if you're having a rough time, just kind of rely on this team. And yeah, pretty soon we're going to be revealing our ELO. I've got a feeling it's going to be like 2200. I think I've won 83 out of 150 matches. Just keeping in mind, I've been running a ton of spicy teams with like Nidoking, Nidoqueen, and Victini, and lots of random things. I'm not too worried about it for the time being, but I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and if you did, of course, drop a like, drop a sub. Link to the Discord in the description down below, feel free to join. And with all that being said, everybody have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys next time.